Hi, ready for another Bible story? Well, this one is kind of interesting, and it's called Safe in the Boat. It's about Noah and the ark. But it begins on a very serious note. God was very, very sad, for all the people was so bad. They would cheat, and they would lie, and they would make their sisters and brothers cry. They would kick and steal and fight, though they knew it wasn't right. Noah was the only one who was pleasing in God's sight. And here's nice Noah, and you see he's working in a vineyard, right? He's harvesting grapes, and those people behind him, they're just fighting away. They don't know how to behave, and they're really making everybody angry too, except for Noah, who's a very good person. All right, now we're going to go on with this one. Here we go. God told Noah, build a boat, make it strong so it will float. Make it tall and make it wide and put a lot of rooms inside. And he goes ahead and he does it. Yeah, I'm going to let you see some of that, okay? Good. And we're going to turn the page. So Noah's family built the boat. See, Noah's wife helped, and Noah's sons. I don't know whether he had any daughters. I don't think so, but if he did, they helped also. They made it strong so it would float, but all the people, all those bad people, laughed, and they said, they are loony in their head. Where's the water? Where's the sea? They're as crazy as can be. That's what those other people said, but some people just don't know how to react. God brought animals 2 by 2. They skipped and crawled and hopped and flew and squealed and barked and chirped and mooed. The boat would be called a floating zoo. And here they are. It's a riot. Look at them all coming to the ark. It's called the ark. It's called Noah's Ark. It's a boat. God commanded, let it rain. And so it rained on hill and plain. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. It sprinkled, showered, rained, and poured. The water got deep, it covered the ground, but those in the boat were safe and sound. Days and weeks and months went by before the ground was finally dry. But then God said, it's time to come out. So out they came with a roar and a shout. And what did they see when they looked up high? A shining rainbow in the sky. Yes, the rainbow is God's message to them that he's not going to flood the earth anymore. No, and everybody's going to be good and happy. So that's what the rainbow means. It's a beautiful sight. And there it was. All right, now I don't think we have any more. That was the end of that story. I have another story here. It's full of action. All right, let's try that out, okay? This is called David and Goliath. Now, here's a picture. Yeah, it's good to start with the picture sometimes. See that big guy? He's like a giant. That's Goliath. And what's he doing? He's chasing all those other soldiers away because they're afraid of him. And who was mean and tall and strong? A giant named Goliath, who had a spear that was sharp and long. A giant named Goliath. Every morning and every night, Goliath tried to pick a fight. Come and get me if you can. But all God's people turned and ran. A boy named David came one day. He heard what Goliath had to say, but David said, this man's a clod. He's making fun of the living God. And there's David, looking very kind of, boyish. He doesn't look like he's strong enough to take on that guy, does he? I don't know. You see, that's what everybody thought, too. They said, this kid can't handle it. The king found out what David said. But then the king just shook his head. How can someone as young as you expect to do what a soldier can't do? God will be with me, said David. So at last the king nodded his head. The king said, okay, you can go and fight Goliath. David turned and left the king. He took his staff, that's his stick, that he walks with, and he took his sling. Now, that's the slingshot he has, but it's not the kind of slingshot that you're likely to see, in a sporting store. The slingshot had straps on the side and had just a little pouch in the middle. That's where the rocks would go. But let's see how this ends. He took his staff and he took his sling. He walked on down to a little stream where he found 5 stones. Not big stones either. 5 stones that were smooth and clean. And there he is, finding the stones in the stream. Seems kind of strange, doesn't it? But we'll see what happens. Goliath saw David, and it made him mad. He let out a roar to frighten the lad. But David kept coming. He didn't run away, and that's when Goliath heard him say, "You come to me with a spear and a sword, but I come to you in the name of the Lord." All right, and here we see this really interesting picture. See, he doesn't have a spear there. That's his sling spinning around over his head. You see, and right here is where the rocks are. These are just strings. Right? And he's swinging them very hard so that he can throw them hard at the giant. David made the sling go round and round. The stone flew up with a whistling sound, and giant Goliath fell to the ground. He hit Goliath right here in the middle of the forehead. You'll see in the picture. There he is. Yeah, he didn't know what hit him. And you see, he was just a little guy, and he beat the big guy because God was on his side, but also because he used his head. He was clever. Okay, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, David took care of the giant Goliath. And there's a little lesson in that. If you use your brains, and if God is on your side, you're going to win sometimes against the odds.